Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the premier radio networks, including 177 of the best stations in the U.S., and XM Channel 166 on Sunday, March 11th, 2012. This is episode 856. Enjoy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy, and it's time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones, camcorders, MP3 players, home theater, iPads, and all of that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536 if you want to talk about it. Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, will be joining us in a little bit to talk digital photography in the second hour, 33 past the second hour. I'm seeing a lot of press about the iPad 2 and the ship date slipping. Say that carefully. The iPad, now I don't know if that's true or if CNN apparently is reporting that it's going to come out the 19th if you pre-ordered, not the 16th. I suspect that what they're seeing is that if you order now, it's not going to come out. Let me just check. It says just checking my iPad 2 order here. We're happy to let you know the items are on their way to you. Let's just delivers March 16th. Let's just check the tracking number and see if it's still on its way to me from Shenzhen, China. Yeah, by end of day, March 16th. So I don't know why iPad 3, iPad whatever. It's the iPad. Whatever it's called. The new iPad. So I don't know why CNN is saying, oh, you won't get it. I think if you order today, you won't get it until later. Of course, that's not even news. That always happens. So did you order a new iPad? Whatever the number is. It ain't the iPad 3, and it ain't the iPad HD. It's just the iPad. So you see my confusion. I don't know what to call it. Beautiful high-res screen, 2048 by 1536 on a 9.7-inch screen. That's amazing. That is truly amazing. Faster processor. It has to be because it's pushing 3.1 megapixels, four times the dots on the screen. Better camera. I'm excited about that. I know people think I'm nuts on that. I tweeted about a month ago. I said, hey, you know what I hope? I know we're going to get the Retina display, but my number one wish for the iPad next is a better camera because, well, it couldn't have a much worse camera. It had a terrible camera in the iPad 2. And good news, it is a high-quality camera, a 5-megapixel camera. That is the same as the iPhone 4, but it's using the optics system in the iPhone 4S with the extra lens and the light sensitivity and all. So I have a feeling this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful camera. And the interesting thing about this camera is that it will be able to shoot 1080p video at 30 frames a second, and you'll be able to see it in full resolution on the back of the iPad. Which I don't think there's any device like that where without a video tap. Video tap is what what George Lucas got a Technical Academy Award for inventing. The ability to, they called it the video droid, the ability to watch as the movie's being shot in full resolution, so you see what you're getting instead of looking through a little viewfinder. You don't see the directors making the little U's with their fingers anymore. They just look at the video tap. Actually, it was Jerry Lewis who claimed the patent for that in the 50s. I know, that sounds strange. He made a movie. Maybe the chat room could tell me the name of this movie. It was the strangest movie. The Hollywood set, he built this set on a soundstage that was an entire home cross-sectioned. So he could move the cameras around and look upstairs, downstairs, everywhere. Just the strangest set. I remember it was a girls' school or something. I'll have to look up what the name of the movie was. But he invented Jerry Lewis. Yeah, that Jerry Lewis. He invented what the first video tap. It wasn't The Day the Clown Cried. Thank goodness. That's the movie that never came out. He invented the video tap so that he could watch as he was shooting. He could see he was directing it, and he could see what he was going to get. Pretty amazing. And now we've all got it on an iPad, the new iPad. I guess it was the they call it Video Assist now, but he called it the Video Tap. Not sure. I'm looking to see what movie. It wasn't The Bellboy. It wasn't Cinderfella. Might have been The Ladies' Man. Yes, that's it. Herbert H. Hebert is a young man who loses his girlfriend, swears off romance, and takes a job at a genteel, women-only boarding house run by Helen Wellenmelon. Okay, a little broad, yes, in more ways than one, but it was a cross-section of this lady's boarding house. It was kind of technologically very advanced. He was quite the gadget hound. And now you've got it on an iPad. I'm going to call it the iPad 3. I'm sorry, I have to call it the iPad 3. It's just too confusing otherwise. Why did Apple not give it a number? What do you think? My thinking is that they decided they're going to sell these like people sell computers now. You're getting the latest iPad, but you get to choose by price. So for $399, you get the slower processor, the lower res screen. For $499, you get the higher res screen, the faster processor. And if you want to add 4G, you add $129. If you want to add more memory, what is it, $100 per 16 gigabytes? And it all kind of makes sense. Apple, of course, will call it in their catalog, their service materials and all of that, the third generation iPad. Or sometimes they use the year. They'll say the 2012 iPad. I truly believe that this is a breakthrough device. This is the first iPad. If you didn't buy an iPad, if you resisted the iPad for the first 2 years, good on you, because this is the first one that will let you create content as well as with a PC. You'll be able to shoot and edit movies. You'll be able to take great pictures, edit them, and upload them right from the device. You'll be able now you might say, well, this, the keyboard on the screen is it's true, it's a little unsatisfying tapping on glass. But they've added voice dictation. I'm convinced, now maybe it's early days yet, but I'm convinced Apple's plan is to make this iPad something that you don't need a keyboard for. It's all touch. You don't need a mouse because it's all touch. And you don't need to type because you talk. And if you can get the talking reliable enough, the dictation reliable enough, I think people are just going to stop carrying around laptops. I really do. Am I nuts? 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. We could talk about the new iPad. Absolutely. South by Southwest is going on right now in Austin, a rainy, cold Austin, Texas. They call it Spring Break for Geeks. And I think that's about the most apt description. It's just one big party for the whole tech community. And it's very strange. I went the last couple of years, and it's very strange because if you live in the San Francisco Bay Area, it's like nothing. Everybody you know from the San Francisco Bay Area just went to Austin. That's it. That's it. It's the strangest thing. Music is good, the food is good, and then it's just basically dancing till dawn with a bunch of geeks who the dancing you don't want to see. It's like Herbert Hebert dancing. You know what they call it? They call it the white man's overbite. It's like this. You bite your lower lip, you stick your butt out, and you kind of shake it. That's it. I once danced with Bill Gates, and in fact, that's exactly how he danced. I wasn't dancing with him. I was dancing. I was at a party. It was the old Comdex Festival, and he was dancing next to me. And I would nudge to my partner and say, that's Bill Gates, and he's dancing like a geek. Like this. The white man's overbite. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. What was the song? The Dancing Queen by ABBA, of course. 8888 Ask Leo. The website, techguylabs.com. We go to the phones and your calls right after this. So you bite, you take your lower lip and you suck it in and you bite it with your upper teeth because you're concentrating. Moving your hips is not easy when you're a geek. You have to think about it. And you're trying to look cool. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. Give me a ring. We'll talk. Let's talk, you and me. We'll talk about the new iPad. We could talk about, I didn't even mention the HTZ Zero phone, which I think is going to be the hot new Android phone. iPhone 5, but I mean, we got the iPad. What do we have to? We got to speculate on something, right? iPhone 5, that'll occupy all the tech pundits until September. We don't even talk about computers much anymore, do we? I got a call yesterday for somebody wanted to know about a gaming machine. I haven't had that conversation in a long time. It's all about this smartphone is probably the most powerful computer, it's certainly the one you have all the time. This phone I've got here, this Galaxy Note, dual core 1.4 gigahertz processors. It's got 16 gigs built in and 32 gig SD card. That's more storage than any computer I had until about 2 years ago. Gary, Ontario, California, your first Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Gary.
You got to push it.
Oh, I got to push it, huh? See, I got all this technology, but I can't push a button. There we go. No, there's something wrong with it's Windows. It's Windows' fault.
Here, I got it.
Don't touch it. Hi, Gary.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. I'm pressing, and finally it went. And see, what happened is Kyle was about to press it, and that meant that after I picked you up, he would have hung up on you. So I froze him in his tracks. All right, Gary, you're on.
Okay, I'm currently streaming my police scanner to my Mac notebook using QuickTime Broadcast, and I want to stream it to my iPhone and my iPad. And I have not been able to find anything to do that.
So you have a police scanner.
Right.
And it's hooked up to your computer?
It's hooked to my server. I have a Mac Mini server.
Got it. So it takes the audio from the scanner, and then you've got QuickTime running on it, and it serves it out to your network.
Right.
And then on your network, you've got a desktop. It's a Wi-Fi network, I presume. And you've got a desktop, and it picks it up, and it uses iTunes to play it?
Yeah. Well, basically, I have a little file that it creates. But, yeah, it's using QuickTime, yeah. It's using, actually, QuickTime itself.
Well,
QuickTime Player.
Yeah. QuickTime will pick up the stream. That makes sense. Yeah, and play it back. That's probably the lightweight way to do it. In fact, if you did it with iTunes, it would still be using QuickTime Player to do it. Just so you wouldn't see it.
Right.
Well, that makes sense. All right. So the question is there anything on the iPhone or iPad that will play back a QuickTime stream?
Right. From what I understand, RTSP is what QuickTime's using, and the iPhone and the iPad does not support that.
Yeah, that's strange. Boy, you would think that Apple would support its own RTSP streaming style.
Yeah, I think they've taken it out of the system to streamline the system, maybe,
You'd need... I believe you can in Safari, iOS Safari. The question is, how do you point it? Do you have an address?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You must have an IP address that you pointed at, and then in Safari...
Yeah, I create a file in QuickTime Broadcast. You create a little document.
Yeah, it's a little playlist file,
it's a little QuickTime movie is what it is.
Yeah, it's an M3U, I think.
Yeah, well, it's an MOV.
It's an MOV.
Scanner MOV is what.
What you might try, this is crazy, but what you might try is open Safari on your iOS device and surf to the IP address of that machine, the server, /
right.
and the name of that MOV file.
Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure we'll open it up and play it.
Okay.
That's a
That would be the
crazy.
way to try
This is
it.
a crazy thing. Now I should mention. I'm sure you know there are scanner programs for iOS.
Well, I have those, and you have to stream it to their server, and then I guess stream it back down to yourself. And
Right. I use iTunes. I use TuneIn Radio Pro, and it has a whole selection, but it's probably not a very complete selection, but a whole selection of police scanners that are on the internet. But if the scanner you want to listen to is not on the internet, and I would guess that most of the most interesting ones are not.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I just want to listen to Ontario PD, so I have to listen to everything else.
Yeah, I'm sure the Ontario PD does not put its. I mean, I don't even know why some of these emergency services do put it on the internet, but some of them do.
Yeah.
Let me think. Yeah, I think this. Yeah, I'm almost positive that it will work. I'd be shocked if it didn't. There are other ways to stream. I use a little program called Nicecast that does Shoutcast/Icecast streaming. That will also run on your Apple server, your Mac, your mini server, and would put out a stream that iTunes could read. Not QuickTime, unfortunately, but iTunes could read. And there are. In fact, TuneIn Radio Pro would read it. But I think the easiest is just going to be point your browser to it. I am positive your browser will play it.
Okay, great. Yeah, I tried Nicecast several years ago.
Yeah, I like that.
I had some problems with it, but that was like several years ago.
Yeah.
It was fairly new. But,
We stream.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
give it a try, Gary. Hey, thanks for the call. It's an interesting application. We stream our audio. I do a podcast. When I'm not doing the radio show, I do a podcast network of tech shows, about 30 of them. And we stream audio of it, of course. And we have a little hardware box called a Barracks that we've been pumping the audio into, and it turns it into something called Icecast, which is an MP3 format. Then we send that out to a server, and the server is at TWiT.am, and you can tune into that with iTunes. But we just got a box. I'm very excited. John, have we put the Telos box in yet, or we're still working on that? It's in, but we're not using it yet. We're still using the Barracks, yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to do this, and many radio stations will use Icecast or Shoutcast. Most will use Windows Media. That's very, very common. Some use Flash. Patty in Los Angeles. Hey, Patty. Leo Laporte, the
How you doing?
I'm great, Patty. How you doing?
Fine. I bought a brand new Android phone, higher end, a Samsung Epic Touch 4G, and when I joined Sprint a couple years ago, I had like 4 defective phones, so I went high end with this phone. But there's a couple of glitches, and I've taken it back to the store a couple times. I even got another phone. And they're saying supposedly the ice cream sandwich update for Android that's coming up soon is supposed to help my phone.
Maybe. I have the same phone. You got it from Sprint. It's it's basically a Samsung Galaxy S2. They call it the Epic Touch 4G S2 Galaxy. Yeah, I love it, and I have not had any problems. So one thing I do see a lot more, especially on Android phones, is lemons. And if you're having problems, it's not the operating system. Don't listen to them if they say that. Bring it back until it works. What is the glitch?
The GPS, this is not accurate. Maybe I know it's not perfect, but it's has me like a mile away.
Yeah, that's wrong. And that's wrong. And that's I could help you with that a little bit, but I will talk about ice cream sandwich in just a second. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So we were talking about the Galaxy S2 on Sprint, which they have labeled the Sprint Epic Touch 4G Galaxy S2. That's only 7 words. And our caller was having trouble because it wasn't doing GPS. She was a mile off. Now, make sure, of course, that GPS is turned on. The first time you use GPS, GPS will be very slow. This is true on any device using the Global Positioning System, or GPS. The way GPS works, as you probably know, is there are a number of satellites stationed all around the world. And GPS needs to see 3 or 4 of those satellites and then triangulate your location based on, believe it or not, the amount of time it takes to get the signal from the satellite. It's so accurate that they can tell where you are. It's not like the satellite looks at you and says, oh, well, Leo's right there. No, you're actually triangulating these satellites. It does take some time. And so any GPS device, the very first time you get a lock, may take some time, may take minutes. But what it does is it creates what's called an almanac, a GPS almanac, that is information about where you are, what satellites to look for, kind of a rough idea of where you are, and that speeds it up in future. So the first time you get a GPS lock may take a while. The almanac and the ephemeris data, it will be stored in memory on your phone, and starts will be quicker as long as you don't go somewhere else or you use your GPS every few weeks. It's information about the state of the entire GPS satellite constellation, course data on every satellite's orbit, where kind of you are, which satellites to look for. It's very interesting. And, of course, GPS clock calibration data. It is complicated. But assuming that now, if your GPS is not working, then your phone will use Wi-Fi data. Even if you don't use Wi-Fi, as long as you're not logged into a Wi-Fi network, but as long as the Wi-Fi is turned on, all phones use a GPS assist function based on Wi-Fi access points. And they have data on their servers. They don't keep it on the phone, but they have data about access points. And then they can try, if there's more than one access point, if there's only one access point. Actually, let me start at the very beginning. The first thing the phone does is check the cell tower. It then knows within a few miles where you are, based on where you are on the cell tower. That is the basic location feature. If your cell phone consistently reports you at a spot you're not, that's perhaps on the top of a high building, that's the cell tower. And if it's consistently doing that, then that's what it's using for location. Then it refines it down. If it can see Wi-Fi access points, it can literally triangulate you based on the strength of access points. It needs a couple to do that, but it can do very accurate geolocation based on that. That's the second method. And the third method, of course, is using the GPS satellite, and that should get you within a few meters of where you are. So if parts of your phone are not functioning, and if you've got everything turned on, make sure that GPS chip is turned on. Make sure the Wi-Fi is turned on. If you've got everything turned on and it still thinks you're in the middle of town, then the GPS radio is probably broken. And it is not completely unusual that you get 3 or 4 lemons in a row. I don't know why, but this does happen. I've seen it happen with cell phones before. The manufacturer quality control is fairly shoddy, I guess. Now, I have a Galaxy 2. I have the same phone from Sprint. Never had a problem. Love it. She was asking, is it going to get better with Ice Cream Sandwich, and when are we going to get it? That's the next version of Android. It's not it's not out. It's only out on a few phones at this point, and actually one phone and one tablet, to my knowledge. But Samsung has said, no, we're going to roll those out. It's kind of up to the carrier as much as Samsung. Samsung has to take Ice Cream Sandwich, adapt it for the unique Samsung interface. Samsung calls it TouchWiz. Each manufacturer has their own. HTC has Sense. Samsung has TouchWiz. Motorola has Blur, perhaps the worst name ever for a product. And so they have to take Ice Cream Sandwich, customize it. Then they tell the carriers, all right, we're ready. Carriers get that version. They have to customize it for any unique features on that phone. Every carrier's phone is slightly different. And then push it. And carriers can be very slow to do that. In fact, sometimes there's a cost to the carriers to do that they don't want to pay. So that's why phones often don't get updated, even if the operating system is out. Google open-sourced Ice Cream Sandwich, made it available the day it shipped, which was quite a while ago, months ago. So there's been plenty of time to do it. We're still waiting. Will it fix it? It might, but as you know, anytime there's a new operating system, it fixes some bugs and adds others. So it might even make it worse. We've heard some odd things about Ice Cream Sandwich on some phones. So, if you're looking at your GPS and it consistently reports you at the wrong place, that's the phone, and you need a new one. Scott Lake, and I don't think Ice Cream Sandwich fixes that. Scott in Lake Tahoe, Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, how you doing?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for taking my call there.
Thanks for calling.
Been helping me through the last probably 14, 15 years of this stuff.
I'm an old man.
Yes.
Been doing this a long time.
Yep. ZDTV was my
That's right.
first.
That's right.
First look with you and
1998.
Yep.
Before the turn of the century.
98.
Yep.
Yep. Well, anyway, Windows 98 is a long time ago. iPad new is today.
The iPad, the new iPad. You can only call that for a little while. I don't know what they're going to do. It's very confusing.
Yes. And, I'm even more confused because I've been PC forever. But, a portable
what
device,
it tells me? I'll tell you what tells me that the iPad's on the right track. Give it to a 2-year-old. I know 2-year-olds, kids who are certainly not literate, who can barely walk, who know how to take an iPad, log in, launch Netflix, and watch Phineas and Ferb. They can do all that, and that tells me that user interface is on the right track.
Yep. Yeah, and, last year we got an iPod, I think it was, the Touch, and so, I'm kind of okay with navigating.
Yeah, well, you're used to it. Yeah, it's the same as, it's just a giant touch.
Big one, right?
Yeah.
Now, my concerns, though, I do septic systems, dirt work, excavating, so I'm...
Oh, yeah. You got to protect that
severe
sucker.
Environment.
Yeah.
And, dirty fingers swiping across the screen, the dust in the air. I'm wondering if it'll handle my environment or...
Well, you're going to have to get a good case, and you're going to want to get screen protectors. They do have screen protectors you could put on top of it so you won't scratch the glass. That glass is very tough. It is it is Gorilla Glass. They don't label it such, but it is. It's a Corning glass that is designed not to scratch, and I have yet to scratch even a 2-year-old iPad. It's very hard to scratch. Nevertheless, if you've got grit and sand and dirt on your fingers, you probably want to get a screen protector. You also want to get, I think, probably an OtterBox. Those are very tough cases, and you could get them with a screen protector.
Okay.
And they have something called the iPad Defender. That's pretty darn tough. You'd have a hard time. You could drop it. It's rubberized, so you could even get a little moisture. I wouldn't drop it in the septic tank.
Right now, it'll stay in the dump truck, I'm sure. But
that's fine.
That, and then now, part of the reason that I'm considering this is that I can create content. Now, most of my paperwork is done on Excel spreadsheets.
Hang on, I do want to tell you about doing, billing forms, estimates, having the customer sign the iPad, all that you can do. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It was a bad song when Paul McCartney did it. It's very gleeful, though. Actually, it's prettier when they do it, isn't it? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. One of our listeners does the arrangements for these Glee recordings. He's very good. He has a whole studio and the whole thing. We were talking to Scott in Tahoe. He wants a tough iPad, and now he wants to also use it in the field for estimates, for contracts, for payments and invoices. And, of course, you can, and this is one of the things that's great about the iPad. There are a number of programs that are designed to let you do that. You can either create forms in PDF format. That's probably how you have them already, right?
I'm more run Excel.
You have in spreadsheets. Okay.
Yeah.
You certainly, okay, so you have two choices. You can, of course, they have a spreadsheet called Numbers, and it will import Excel spreadsheets. So and the way you do it, it's a little weird on the iPad. You have two choices. The iPad, to make it simple, doesn't have a desktop, doesn't have a file system, doesn't have folders, doesn't have any of that stuff. And there is no way to kind of browse the hard drive in the iPad. Apple decided in order to make this simple, they were going to eliminate all those things. So the way you get files into the iPad, there's really two ways. One is to just email it to yourself. And when you see an attachment in your email program, you can open that attachment and then send it to a compatible program. So if you send yourself an Excel spreadsheet, you'll have a little drop-down that says Open in Numbers, if you have numbers, and you can. But my recommendation instead would be, would you, in the field, would you update those numbers on the spreadsheet?
Well, some of that stuff, I got client information. There's a box for their name, address, phone number, that type of thing, So in some of the design parameters. So, yeah, it'd be nice to be able to put
it would be, wouldn't
that information into my spreadsheet. And
yeah. I think you could use numbers for that on the iPad. That wouldn't be too much of a problem. There are PDF programs like PDF Pen that you can create a PDF form and then use the iPad to fill it in. So there are different ways. Absolutely, this can be done. It's done all the time. I see a lot of people using iPads. And the nice thing is you can have your clients sign it with their finger, or you can buy little pens.
Right, and that would be a big thing because, I've got my disclaimer, what's included in your bid, and to have them sign that right away, that would be a big plus. So, okay, well, maybe this is going to take a little further look. Can I take another half a minute?
Sure.
This is a website tech support. I ain't been able to get into your chat all week. I'd like to say hi to all the Minnesotans that are in there.
What's your chat handle? What's your chat handle?
G Scott.
And you can't get in through the web?
I click the pop-out window thing, and it just goes to a white window. It doesn't give me the little fields to fill in my...
Did you put some... It uses JavaScript. Is it, Dan, is it a Java app, or is it JavaScript only? I think it's JavaScript only.
It's only started happening since Wednesday. I tried to get in when the iPad was launching, and then all week I just get a blank window.
It's Flash, okay. So if you put some security software on there, it might be blocking it. You might try another browser. Some of the people in the chat say that this has been happening to them.
Okay.
What I do and what I recommend, if you like spending time in our chat, it's a nice, convenient thing for you to be able to launch chat through a web, the website. Just go to techguylabs.com, click the chat link, and it's a web-based chat. But if you spend a lot of time there, I would just download a chat client.
I tried XChat this morning, and that was kind of giving me some grief. So
well, you have to, and it's on the webpage, but you have to set it up with this server irc.twit.tv, and you got to, there's a lot of little. It's not as straightforward.
It seemed a little more. I've been using the pop out on the website for all winter when I'm out here.
You got to get a chat client and make it. Once you get it set up, it's much easier.
Okay, well, I'll try that route.
Give it a try.
I'll look at the wiki there. I think it'll get me through.
They have a lot of information.
Again, Leo.
Thank you.
I'll let you on to everybody else that needs your help, and we're coming down to see you probably within the next month or 6 weeks.
Oh, that's great. Well, I look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Scott.
Have a good day.
Take care. Yeah, we have an open studio. We let people come on in. A couple of people were saying in the chat room on live desktop, but that's kind of an interesting story. If you go to onlive.com, ONLIVE, you can see what they're doing. They have an iPad app, and it lets you run Windows on the iPad, and they even have a version of Microsoft Office, so you could even run Excel in there. Microsoft's a little upset about it, however. I think Microsoft just said, they're not really licensing that properly, so something's going to go on with there. Because I remember asking the OnLive guys, when I saw it, Brian Jaquette brought it by and showed me at CES. I said, Brian, are you paying a license for everybody who uses Office on the iPad? He said, yes, we are. Microsoft says, no, they're not. So I think we'll have to find out more about that. I don't know exactly what's going on there. Charlene, Westlake, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo.
Hi, Charlene.
Hi. Leo, yesterday you spoke about filing your income tax electronically.
Yes.
And just a day or two before that, I heard that when you do that, you can leave yourself open to identity theft. They can break in and get your name, your Social Security number, all the information about you, and your children's Social Security number, your wife's Social Security number.
Well, they could if they could get, if somebody could get your tax form, you're wide open, right? Because all of that stuff's on the tax form, isn't it? So if you're going to e-file, it's important that you not e-file with Joe's Tax Shop down in the corner, but to e-file with the Internal Revenue Service USA of America. Because the IRS already knows all that stuff. So as long as you're e-filing with the IRS, you're not giving them anything they don't already know. And we have to presume, we pray and hope that the IRS protects your privacy. I'm pretty sure they do.
But the point I'm making is that I'm not talking about the IRS. I'm talking about these hackers that break in and steal people's...
break into the IRS?
Yeah. Well, they do it to our defense system sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Now, occasionally you'll see that a website's been hacked. That's very different, having your website hacked, from getting to that database. Look, the IRS already has you in their database, so they're not giving them this year's return is not giving them anything they don't already have. If a hacker breaks into the IRS, we're all in deep trouble, Charlene. But the hackers have not yet broken in, and I don't think they ever will. I'm pretty sure the IRS is well protected. Your only risk on e-filing is if you give that information to a third party that's untrusted. But if you're filing with the IRS, and in most cases you're directly filing, you might be going through an e-file service, but that's encrypted, it's scrambled until it gets to the IRS. Nobody else can see it.
You're telling me it's fairly secure.
Absolutely. As long as the IRS is secure, it's secure. And the truth is, Charlene, if the IRS isn't secure, we're all out of luck anyway.
We're all in big trouble.
Because they got it all now already. Well, you're not giving them anything they didn't see last year or the year before. So, no, you absolutely can file safely. Just don't do it with Joe's Filing Hut. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, a good day to you. Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about tech, of course. What does that mean? Well, cell phones, yeah. Digital photography, sure. How to get police scanners in your network. Why not? Anything with a chip in it, I'll talk about it right here. The phone number, 8888-ASK-LEO. That's my phone number, 8888-ASK-LEO. You can also join us in our chat room. Get links to the things I mentioned and a lot more. You can find all that on the website, techguylabs.com. Techguylabs.com. Let's get back to the phones. Lisa in West L.A. Hello, Lisa. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Regarding the iPad, I have a basic naive question from a basically naive listener here.
All right.
And in deciding to choose between a memory of 32 or 64, how much does the average person need?
You know, even 16 is probably a lot for most people. This is a ton of memory. One way to do it. Do you use iTunes now?
No.
So, do you have any digitized music at all?
Nothing.
Are you planning to? What are you planning to use the iPad for?
Every day looking things up and learning to get on to into the tech world.
Then I would not get the 32 even. I would get the 16.
Really?
Yeah, your apps total, if you bought, I have hundreds of apps on my iPad, and it's maybe 6 gigabytes. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, most of that extra storage is for media, for movies, music, photos, and all of that. But even if you took 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 photos, you wouldn't fill up 16 gigabytes. And what you'll find is that you often connect the iPad to a computer to back it up. You should be doing that once in a while. And stuff that you don't use, you can move off. If you start watching movies, I think most of the people who watch movies on the iPad won't even be downloading them to the iPad. They'll be watching them streaming on Netflix or iTunes. So I think that you don't need much memory unless you have a giant music collection you want to store on it.
Right. Also, could I ask, thank you for that answer, could I also ask you, the phone hookup, is that a necessary or unnecessary kind of thing to do for the average person?
Yeah, so there's a $129 surcharge to put 4G data into it. Otherwise, iPad, so the least expensive iPad is $500, and that has Wi-Fi and 16 gigabytes. Wi-Fi, of course, if you never take the iPad out of the house, is plenty. Mm-hmm. The only thing that you would need the 3G, 4G for is if you go somewhere where there's no Wi-Fi and you want to get online. I'll give you a good reason that I use it. The 3G chip also has a GPS in it. There's no GPS without the 3G, 4G chip. Those two go together. And I use my iPad as a navigation system, as a GPS. So I need both because as I'm driving, it needs the GPS to know where I am, and it needs the data connection to download the maps.
I have that in the car, though, already.
Well, most people do. And do you think you'll take the iPad out of the house?
If I travel around a little bit, I would. Yeah.
Well, you might want it for that. Now remember, if you go overseas, it won't work. So you're not going to. It's only within the U.S. that it works.
What's the cost per month?
And that's the other thing. Is not only is it $129 extra for the iPad, but now you have to pay a monthly fee anywhere from $20 to $80, depending on how much data you want to use. The least expensive is AT&T offers a $20 250 megabyte plan that no one will use because it's not enough. But you more likely you'll use the if you get Verizon, I think you'll use the $25 or $30 plan, which is a couple of gigs.
Here's a real naive question.
And by the way, you don't have it's month to month. So if you don't use it, you can stop paying the monthly fee.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, you don't have a 2-year contract or anything like that.
Also, is the ability to use here's one that's really a dumb question. Is the ability to use the camera related any way to having a phone connection or anything like that?
No,
it's all independent.
Do you have Wi-Fi at home? Do you have an internet connection at home?
No.
Oh, then you have to get the 3G. Otherwise, you won't be able to get online.
Okay.
So this becomes in fact, what's cool about this, if you get the $20 a month plan, is probably enough for $25. What's cool about it is it's now not only is it if you get it from Verizon, if you've got good Verizon coverage, because it will also be a hotspot. It becomes your internet connection. If somebody comes in with a laptop or you have a smartphone, you can use it. Use the iPad as your hotspot, as your internet connection. So if you don't have internet at home or you don't have Wi-Fi everywhere you are, then absolutely you want the phone bit.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your great question.
Lisa, I think you're going to love this. So is this your first computer?
Uh-huh. Well, no, I have an old one that finally died.
Yeah. This is a great choice. If you get the 16 gig plus the 3G, 4G, that's going to be $629. And I think you're going to be very happy. I think this is a perfect computer for most of the real world. And I'll tell you, with the camera in there and you can make movies, you're going to love this.
I have a feeling it's going to be a great addition.
I believe it will. My mom has one. I've given her computers over the years, desktops, then laptops. Now she has the iPad. It's all she ever wanted.
Did you get the 2 or the new one?
She has the 1. It's time to update, Mom. Mom, if you're listening, yes, I'm going to give you the new one.
Right. Surprise birthday present.
Yeah,
right?
She loves it. She loves it. Yeah, no, it's a wonderful thing. It's easy to use, and now it does almost everything that you want. I think it's just a fantastic device.
Just pays the bills. That's terrific.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate it. Yeah, it is important to remember that if you're going to use that 3G, 4G connection, the phone connection, as she called it, it will be a monthly fee for that. Verizon has said, and AT&T has not said, but Verizon has said we will turn on this hotspot feature, which means that the iPad can be an access point, a Wi-Fi access point for other devices, and they won't charge extra for it. Now, of course, it counts against your total data, but it won't be extra. So for some people, this might become how they get online. And if you have LTE where you live or where you're going to use this device, you're going to get probably a better connection than you would get from your home internet service provider. It's pretty. I have to say, this is very exciting. And you know me, I'm an Android guy. I love my Galaxy Note, but I truly believe Apple has hit this one out of the park. We will see Friday, and I'll have it for a review for next week. We can talk about it. Coming up at 33 after the hour, Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, will talk digital photography. He's going to talk about the 2 hot cameras that just came out, the Nikon D800 versus the Canon 5D Mark III. These are high-end DSLRs. Which is better? We'll find out. Heidi in Rancho Santa Margarita, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi.
Hi.
I am going to just add me to the list of the people that are asking about iPad.
Good. I think this is a worthy topic.
Yes. I'm trying to decide between an Ultrabook and an iPad, and I don't have a smartphone, and I don't have a portable device.
Get the iPad.
I'm just trying to make Okay.
It's a no-brainer, and I'll tell you why. Well, first of all, it's less expensive than an Ultrabook. You're going to have to get internet access, right, on the Ultrabook? You don't have internet access?
I have internet.
Oh, you do?
Internet access at home, yes.
So then it comes down to which is more important to you, a keyboard or not?
That's a good question.
Yes,
so
that's really what an Ultrabook offers. It offers a desktop operating system, Windows 7 in this case, and a full-size keyboard. So I'll tell you, if you write, you do a lot of text entry, absolutely get the Ultrabook. But well, I want to take a break because I want to spend a little more time on this, Heidi. So don't go away. We're going to take a break, and I will come back. It's a great question. Ultrabook versus iPad. Which is better for you? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's the last thing I want to do. Oh, yeah. Party rock.
Party rock. Where's the party at?
South by Southwest.
Let's go. Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody.
That's how we dance. That's how my people dance.
And we gon' make you lose your mind.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're party rocking in Austin this week. South by Southwest Interactive. It's really just, they call it spring break for geeks. That's what's going on right now. Heidi is on the line from Rancho Santa Margarita. She has a really great question, and I'm glad you called, Heidi. Everybody's looking, we're talking a lot about the new iPad. Pretty impressive device. It's really, in a way, it's Apple saying, we don't want to make a netbook. We don't want to make a cheap computer. We want to reinvent computing with touch. And then Intel introduced a specification called the Ultrabook. That's what Heidi's also looking at. The Ultrabook, I got to tell you, Heidi, is basically a Windows-based clone of the MacBook Air. It is in no way different than a MacBook Air. It's Intel saying, well, we could do that too. And because the MacBook Air is the best-selling Apple computer at this point, it makes sense. So the question is, mostly, do you need a keyboard? You can use a keyboard, a real keyboard, with an iPad. It supports any Bluetooth keyboard, so it's not a difficult thing to do. But at that point, when you're carrying around an iPad and a keyboard, it begs the question, why not just buy a laptop?
Right. And that's what I'm trying to decide. I'm away from my house a couple of days a week, and I'm thinking, well, I could do a little work on my Excel or something like that, and I always think of a keyboard, but everybody says, oh, you've got to have an iPad.
Well, I disagree. If you're doing a spreadsheet, if you're typing, are you using it for work? It's all comes down to how you use it.
Right. It's home applications. Excel, Quicken, I use Picasa, so I was thinking, okay, well, if I can't be at my desktop, then I could take those things with me and work on them remotely.
You would have to rethink how you do everything. So you could do all those same things on an iPad, but you wouldn't be using those applications. Instead of Picasa, you'd be using iPhoto. They've just released iPhoto for the new iPad, and it's fantastic, similar to Picasa in many ways. Okay. But it's not Picasa, and doesn't save to Picasa Web. It saves to the Apple iCloud, and et cetera, et cetera. Are you a Windows user at home?
We've been using Windows exclusively. I know nothing about Apple.
Okay, so you kind of now go into the Apple world. Instead of using Quicken, nobody uses Quicken on the Macintosh anymore anyway. But they use Intuit. That's why Intuit bought a company called Mint.
Right.
And it's kind of automatic Quicken. It does it all for you. So you'd probably use Mint, which means no data entry. If for keeping your household accounts and things, if you use Excel for that, a spreadsheet for that, there is a spreadsheet. As I mentioned, there's numbers. But a spreadsheet on a touch screen isn't quite the same. A spreadsheet was a lot of numeric data entry. That's not going to be anywhere near as easy on a touch screen. So, so if you really, if you're in the Windows world, I love the Ultrabooks. Well, I love the MacBook Air. I carry one a lot when I travel. If I have to write, I'm going to carry a MacBook Air, which is basically the same thing as an Ultrabook. I do like the iPad. I think the new iPad is good, but it is a different kind of computing. And now it's going to cost you more to get an Ultrabook. They start at $1,000, but. My sense of from what you just described, unless you're really willing to kind of rethink how you do everything, I would get an Ultrabook.
Okay. All right.
So you have a little envy, though. You have an iPad envy. I sense that.
Well, see, the thing is, since I don't have I don't have a smartphone, I don't have any of that, and everybody says it's so much easier. So then I'm thinking, well, am I gonna be a dinosaur in the dark ages when everybody else is using this new technology and I need to adapt?
No, it isn't. Windows 7 is completely modern. Don't worry about it. I wish there was some way that people could take home an iPad for a week.
Me too.
Yeah. That's what we need. We need an iPad lending program because I think you can't really be sure until you try it. And there is something very fundamental, almost speaks to the monkey mind about touch. It's just how we think, and it's nonverbal. And so touching and manipulating and arranging and moving things on the screen is for many people, and certainly for kids, even nonverbal kids, you see with autistic kids, for instance, such a natural way of interacting that they don't have to learn it.
Right.
Now, we've learned how to use computers. We've learned mice and keyboards, so we have to kind of unlearn what we've learned if we really want to start using a touch interface all the time. Microsoft, of course, acknowledges this. In fact, if you look at Windows 8, Microsoft's doing something very interesting. They're trying to create a touch and keyboard and mouse solution. It's tablet and desktop, and so your Ultrabook may end up, in 6 months you may end up putting Windows 8 on it. And this is it's an unusual hybrid, and I think Microsoft responding to what's happening right now with the iPad. They realize that the world of computing, I believe, and this is true, the world of computing is moving towards touch.
So should I rush off and buy something now, or should I wait longer for the Windows 8?
You know what I would do? Just to reassure yourself, I would go to an Apple store and spend a little time. They have a nice one in your area. Spend a little time just playing with the iPad just to get an idea of what it is.
Right.
And then I would not hesitate to get a Windows 7 Ultrabook right now. Don't wait for Windows 8. It'll be easy to upgrade.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. I'll be on a first-name basis with everybody at the Apple Store, it sounds like.
That's fine. That's why they built the Apple Store. They built it for this reason exactly, because people just go, well, I don't get it. And the only way, would try it and see. And they're completely okay with you just standing there all day. I have done it. Seriously.
All right. I'll tell them Leo sent me.
Yeah, do. They'll say, okay, Heidi, well, whoever, but please enjoy.
Excellent.
Thanks, Heidi. This is a tough decision, and I really kind of sympathize with the idea that maybe I'm getting left behind. Certainly, Microsoft felt that way. That's why they made Windows 8 touch-centric. And it is true. If you thought that, well, I know I'm gonna love Windows 8, I'm gonna want to use Windows 8, then it probably would be prudent not to buy a computer right now. You're going to want to get a computer that has a touch screen that is, Windows-centric. Windows 8-centric. And, even though there's still a desktop, and there's still Explorer and all of that, it is very much now designed around this start screen, and it's touchy-feely. Microsoft's going that way, too. And you'll want the hardware that goes with it. Putting Windows 8 on existing Windows 7 hardware will work fine, but won't give you the ultimate experience. It won't give you the full experience of Windows 8, the touch experience. So if you do think, oh, man, I want to be in this touch world, but I want to do it Microsoft's way, then I would wait. We haven't yet seen anything about Windows 8 hardware, but I do believe it's coming. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. If you want to call and ask me a question, I'd love to hear from you. 888-827-5536, toll free anywhere in the U.S. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. There are two composers you just know immediately. One is John Williams, the other Hans Zimmer. And you hear their music, you go, oh, that's John Williams. And I did not guess, but the chat room did that's the Jurassic Park theme. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, and I'm trying to think. Oh, dinosaurs. I get it. We're talking about Microsoft. Kyle, you're going to get me in trouble here. Right now, joining us from Tübingen, Germany, our photo guy, our digital photography expert, a man we just adore, and he's here to help me spend some money, Mr. Chris Marquardt from chrismarquardt.com.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Hey, Chris. So it's a continual seesaw back and forth battle between the two giants in digital photography. Actually, they were the giants in still photography as well, and the film photography as well, Nikon and Canon. Both Japanese, right?
Both Japanese, and we've been waiting for, I don't know, 3 years now to get a new 5D Mark something.
Before you go on, it's ironic because it used to be Germany, right? It used to be Leica, Hasselblad,
Rolleiflex
is Rolleiflex from Germany?
Yes, absolutely.
So it used to be German camera companies dominated the professional
That's where the 35 millimeter format in the current form was first used. That was in Leica. So the film with the sprocket holes, that is pretty much comes from Germany.
Well, so what happened then? When did Canon and Nikon just start eating your guys' lunch?
Oh, that's a very good question. I don't know the exact history, but Canon and Nikon, they both, I think, came up pretty big in the 70s, and we remember the Canon A1 and the Nikon series back then.
They made great film cameras, absolutely.
Oh,
and
film
Olympus,
cameras,
and Olympus too. I really loved Olympus. They kind of got left in the dust when we went digital.
Oh, yeah. Olympus is a very different story. Let's not go into the Olympus story right now.
But right now, the dominant camera companies are all Japanese in digital. You'd certainly say Nikon, Canon, and maybe also ran, but coming on strong, Sony.
Sony's doing quite well, but it's still Nikon and Canon kind of sharing the big parts of the market.
So the top of the line Nikon is the D3, and then they announced a D4 in January. The top of the line Canon actually is the 1D. Talk about confusion. But for mortals who don't have lots of money to spend, the 5D is the one most of us, and you and I both own. The 5D Mark II is the current Canon version. Nikon did an interesting thing. Right on the heels of announcing the D4, they announced a D800.
Right, which is the successor to the D700. And on both sides, we've been waiting for quite a while for new models. And potentially they had them ready last year, but then the Japanese disaster struck, and that might have slowed things down.
Yeah.
So now very close to each other, Nikon announced the D800, which is like a huge jump in megapixels and much better video features.
Is the Nikon D800, is it a full frame sensor like the 4D or the D4? It is. Yep. So, and it's expensive. It's manufacturer's suggested retail for the body. Yeah. So it is
just the body, no lens included in that price.
It is not a cheap. It is not a cheap camera by any means, but it's less expensive than the 4D. The Nikon Mark III, the 5D Mark III, about $3,000 also, I believe, list price.
More like $3,500 at this point.
Okay.
Which, again, if you are invested in one of those companies, if you have, like, let's say 5 different lenses for Nikon or for Canon, I bet you have a lot of Canon lenses because you use the 5D Mark II.
Yeah.
So for those people, moving up to the next model might be just the logical choice of staying with the brand they have, because that's kind of what they do. They want you to buy as many lenses as possible and accessories, so you get kind of locked into that brand.
I often tell people that they should buy the best lenses they can and expect that they will be upgrading the bodies. The lenses don't get obsolete. It's the bodies get improved every few years. So if you have invested in Nikon or Canon lenses, it would make sense. This is a chance to upgrade your body.
Yeah, that's what usually happens. The glass, what photographers call glass, the lenses, are just really the key in image quality usually, and you just keep the lenses and you buy new ones, and buying good lenses is a good idea. Now, let's look at those two cameras, because what I believe, and I haven't really worked with any of those yet. I've talked to people who have, and the specs are out there, the price is out there. The Canon is going to be out late April. The Nikon, I think, late March or April. No, actually May, I think, was what I heard. So there will be a couple of months until those cameras are actually available on the market. But specs-wise, if we look at them, Nikon has done something that is kind of surprising. They have made a huge megapixel jump. Up to now,
36.3 megapixels.
Yeah.
Plus, they're doing very high-quality 1080p video.
Right, both do very high quality video. The 5D Mark III has improved on the legendary video performance of the 5D Mark II. The Nikon is pretty much on par, I would say. They have some interesting things going on with the many megapixels and video that comes out of that. We're talking about some zooming capabilities that are a bit different there. Just technical detail.
But compared to the Nikon's 36.3 megapixels, the Canon is only 22.3. Now, I say only, but that's a lot of pixels.
Only, yeah. The question is, do you really need that many megapixels? There are people who say that today's lenses, or most of the lenses that people have, won't even be able to resolve that many megapixels. So you have the lens is kind of turns into a limit at some point where there's just the level of quality of the glass and everything kind of limits the maximum resolution. That's at least what some people say. And I've been shooting 21 megapixels with the 5D Mark II for 3 years now. And I don't really think I want to upgrade to that many megapixels, to be honest, because that means that you'll have to, well, possibly get a faster computer, get more hard drive space, and it kind of keeps rippling down to other things.
So who has the advantage here? I mean, if you don't count megapixels, which is the obvious difference, does one camera give you better looking images?
What I've seen so far are mainly the manufacturer provided studio type shots, or they are kind of the best shots that you can get with those cameras. So I haven't really looked at a lot of real life footage and a lot of real life pictures on those cameras yet. I would expect them to be very similar in image quality. I wouldn't really expect any difference there.
Basically, you're saying if you've got glass Nikon lenses, get Nikon. If you've got Canon lenses, get Canon. If I were starting from scratch, though, which would you recommend?
Well, at this point, if I had no baggage in terms of lenses or accessories, I'm tempted to look at the Nikon a bit closer. And there's one reason for me personally, which is probably not relevant for many people, but it's the uncompressed HDMI output.
The video coming out of this camera live is it's even higher quality than saved on the compact flash. It's very good.
If you need professional video in any form, that is...
We're going to be talking more about it, I'm sure. Chris Marquardt, the photo guy at chrismarquardt.com. Check out his workshops and his podcast, and we'll talk again next week. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Talking high tech at 8888. Ask Leo. Chris gives us a photography assignment every month. I want to mention that because it's just, it's not a prize, it's not a competition. It's just really, frankly, an excuse to get out there and take pictures. Sometimes we need that. So our assignment this week is to find or make a new image. The whole point is to get out there and take pictures, and you can use your camera phone. You don't need a fancy camera. Make a new image illustrating the concept or idea, language. Language, all right? Ooh, this is a fun one. So here's the deal. You take the picture, take a bunch of pictures, pick the one you like. Each week you get to upload another one to our Flickr group. You have to have a Flickr account. It's free, FLICKR.com. And, it's Flickr without an E. If you have a Yahoo account, you have a Flickr account. And then look for the Tech Guy photo pool or group pool. You can just search groups for Tech Guy, 2 words. And you'll know you're in the right one when you see 9,372 members, 2,362 photos. That's the right one. Upload your photo. Tag it with the word language so we know it's for that. And Renee will take your picture, put it in the group pool, and in a couple of weeks, I think you have another 2 weeks to go, Chris Marquardt will pick 3 and we'll talk about them on the show. So it's just an excuse to take more pictures. That's all. Elizabeth in Oxnard, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello.
You sound a little glum.
Well, it's a little embarrassing. You've heard of idiots and, with computer idiots and all that. Well, I'm the old-time computer idiot. It's so bad that I had to ask my granddaughter about 7 months ago what a piece was, okay?
But, Elizabeth, I bet, I know you feel bad right now, but I bet it's not something that every one of us hasn't done from time to time. What did you do?
Oh, well, I listened to someone, they told me to put all my stuff on it. My husband brought me this little Dell computer because all I had was my phone computer.
Nice of him to do that.
It's a used laptop, and it had the XP on it and all that.
Okay.
And he brought it. He only paid $150 for it. It's a really nice one. Everything works great on it. And so he brings it, and he says, well, when you can get this, like, you know, if you can work this all right, then you can get a better one, and you can have the internet and all of that instead of using your phone.
He's challenging you.
So, I listened to this person, a friend of mine, he said, now make sure you get the administrator from on your computer that you don't want anyone to accidentally erase or anything like that. So I do all this, and I put all my passcodes and all this important ones in there so I don't lose them and no one can get to them. Well, I forgot the passcode to the administrator.
That's a very common thing. You forgot your password.
Yes, I can get on the other parts of it, just not the administrator where everything's at. I didn't separate the two like an idiot, and now I feel really dumb.
No. It happens all the time. People forget their password. It probably is best not to use the administrator account for anything, and that way, use your. It's equally secure to have an account that's just you, as well as an administrator account. But that's okay. You use the administrator account. That's fine. Just pretend your name is administrator, and it works the same. So
there's no reason why no one gets on the computer. I don't know, because I was listening and I know he was telling me, pay attention to these people, and then you can have the internet on this instead of just your phone, and I just overdid it. That's what I was wondering. I know.
Go ahead.
There's something about setting the computer, whatever, but this came with the Windows XP on it, and there was no book or anything on this computer.
Right.
I guess he bought it.
He got it used, yeah. Now, it's possible. Dell used what we call a hidden administrator account. They created that account to install the operating system on there. And in XP days, they did not remove it. So you may have an interesting backdoor into this, the hidden administrator account. A couple of ways to access it. Do you know if it's XP Home? Probably is.
I believe so.
Okay. So you're gonna reboot the computer. This gets a little weird. Into safe mode.
Says it. Well, Windows XP Professional.
Oh, it's professional. All right. So then you restart or log out. You already are at the welcome screen, I bet, because you're trying to remember your password.
No, I can get into the one that I just, because he told me to have two, one for the administrator and then one for mine, like my games or my recipes or something like that.
Yeah.
But I put all my, so that one I can get into.
Okay.
But I can't get into where my.
Yeah, and I want you to keep using that one, by the way. Your instinct is good just to keep using that one. But we need to get into the administrator account because you've lost it. So.
So I turned
you
it on.
Probably don't have a reset disk either, I would bet. Microsoft says you'll have to reinstall Windows, but in fact, I don't believe you do. Let me ask the chat room, though. How do you get, if the hidden administrator account is still on there, how does she get to the hidden administrator account? Just out of curiosity. I think you hit Control-Alt-Delete to get to the login screen. You type administrator as the login, and then nothing is the password. And see if that works. If that doesn't, then unfortunately you're going to have to. There are programs that will crack the password, like Loft Crack. I'm not sure I want. You know what I would do? Do you have a friendly tech anywhere? Is there somebody you can bring the computer into?
I think I'm going to have to.
Yeah. If you boot into safe mode, which means reboot, and as it says, when it says loading Windows, you tap the F8 key a bunch of times, and then it'll get into safe mode. You should be able to log in. Yeah, I think you're going to have to get a tech guy. There's a lot of unusual little tricks. There are programs you can do. What Microsoft says you can't do it. If there's a 13-year-old up the street, he could do it. Microsoft says no, you have to reinstall Windows, but the truth is there are ways to crack into it. But you need to be a little bit of expert. I'll use the word expert. See if the nerd herd is around and ask them. Elizabeth, I wish I had some better advice for you. If the truth is The next time there's a way to make a reset disk, you probably should do that. That lets you reset your password if you forget it. There may be, and I would try this if you hit Control-Alt-Delete and go to the login menu and type administrator and use a blank password. That hidden administrator account may still be enabled. If it is, and you can get into that account, then you can go to the administrator account that you set up and change the password on that. That's about the most I can suggest. If neither of those things work, get an expert. Bill in San Diego is coming up next. He wants to stream video from his cable box to another location in the house. We'll talk about that. Bill in San Diego, you want to stream video from your cable box.
That's right. I want to stream video, moderate grade video, or essentially the output of the cable box to another room,
right?
Wirelessly.
And you want to do it? You want to do it via Wi-Fi? Do you have Wi-Fi?
Exactly. Yeah, I have N Wi-Fi that would in good quality N or good throughput on the end.
Slingbox. Slingbox has,
and then with a boxy box on the other end.
You don't even need a boxy box, but you could do that. You need a sling catcher of some kind. They use software, so yeah, boxy would work. But what the advantage of doing it with the Slingbox is you'll also be able to get to your TV anywhere, not just in the other room, but anywhere you can log on.
Right. That's what I had thought would be the.
That's how I do it. Absolutely the best way to do it. I'll mention some other choices. Orb, that's another good one. When we come back, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. And we're talking about computers and cell phones and the internet. I guess there really is no difference between a computer and a cell phone these days. Tablets, home theater, photography, anything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. We've been talking to Bill in San Diego, who has a kind of a common problem. He's got a home theater set up in the living room, but he'd like to be able to watch it at another location in the house. And I mentioned Slingbox. That's one way to do it, but there are also now wireless HDMI solutions. I have one from Action Tech, for instance, that you connect to your cable box, and you connect to the HDMI out of your cable box, and then you can put a receiver somewhere else in the house. It doesn't use your Wi-Fi. It has its own transmitter in it. And it will basically wirelessly transmit the HDMI signal.
Interesting.
Yeah. The one I have been playing with is Action Tech. It works pretty well. They claim full 1080p at up to 150 feet. It's kind of I presume it's a pass-through. Let me see here. You can stream HD. Yeah, see, I don't see it as a pass-through. So what you'd probably have to do is switch the HDMI over to it, and then you'd be able to see it. It would be nice if it were a pass-through. And, of course, the other issue is, well, how do I change the channel? You'd have to go back into the living room to change the channel.
Yeah, I could deal with that. But again, I have I probably might have basic cable to most things, and I might have satellite, and I want to be able to get special, certain programs.
Right. You don't want to pay for that in every. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what I was thinking about. But that's what I was asking about as the Slingbox catcher, using something like the Boxy Box.
Right.
Because that's one of them I saw that was compatible.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you can get moderately good quality. I know you can't hook the Slingbox up on HDMI, but you can on composite. So.
Yeah, you can get very good quality. I mean, you're using the internet. But it's you got a lot of bandwidth. It's close to your, you're not going too far. You should be just fine. And one of the advantages of the Slingbox is that the Slingbox controller now lets you change a channel, program the DVR. You can do a lot more with your home theater setup than you could with something like this wireless HDMI. So Slingbox is not. They have Slingbox HD. I mean, it's called HD, and it is pretty good quality. It's streaming. You've seen streaming video before. It's like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I thought I'd ask you before. I was thinking of going the route I was just mentioning, and I just thought I'd talk to you first.
I think it's a good way to go.
I have one other quick question I want to ask you relating to Carbonite, which, awesome product. I've been using it and everything, but I ran into a problem with a friend. Apparently, by default, Carbonite doesn't save files larger than 4 gig.
That's right.
Where that could be a big problem is if you put Carbonite on a computer and you've got a large PST file on your Outlook,
right?
It might not get saved unless you.
That's right. You have to manually select it. So, in general, I think with Carbonite, the way I always use it, and I would recommend everybody use it, is accept the defaults, but then go in and tweak.
Right.
Because there's stuff you don't. It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense if you think about it, because you don't want to just willy-nilly back up all these giant files.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you want your data and stuff. That's really what you're trying to get.
You don't want the
occurrence. Yeah,
the Windows cache file. There's a lot of big files. Right. So I think that it makes sense for them. You're right. They probably should be more clear about it. I'm glad you mentioned it. And I'll mention it again. But it makes sense for them, by default, not to take files that are more than 4 gigabytes. But if you want to, you just explicitly say, "Hey, make sure you get that PST file."
Yep. Well, thanks a lot. I really appreciate your show.
All right. Hey, it's great to talk to you. Thanks for the call. 8888 Ask Leo. The website is techguylabs.com. We were talking, last hour we were talking to somebody who was afraid of using the wireless, the wired electronic filing for the IRS. She said, I'm afraid of getting hacked if I use electronic filing. And it's a really good example to me of how, because something is new, because the technology and the internet are new, we tend to be more afraid of it, and almost irrationally afraid of it. And I'll say, this is a perfect example. Until you were doing electronic filing, how were you filing your income tax? You were putting it in an envelope, right, with all of the Social Security numbers, all of the information. You were putting it in an envelope and putting it in the mailbox, and trusting that at no point along the way anybody opened that envelope and read it. It was not very well protected, to be honest. Any malefactor anywhere along the way who had access to it could read that information. Now, we trust the Postal Service, but frankly, electronic filing is much more secure. Nobody along the way can read it. It goes straight to the IRS. Only they can read it. Only they can store it. So, in fact, if you think about it, e-filing is, in fact, much more safe, much more secure than the way we've been doing it for years. And we never questioned the way we were doing it. We all just trusted, well, it's safe. It's the U.S. Postal Service. What could possibly go wrong? Mail never gets lost. Mail never gets stolen. Mail never gets misplaced or opened. What could possibly go wrong? So, in fact, similarly, people often ask me, well, is it safe to shop online? I can't believe in this day and age we get this question, but we do. And I ask them, well, have you ever used a credit card at a restaurant? Well, yeah. Well, what happens there in that transaction? You give the card to a waiter and he disappears for a minute or two, or maybe 5. What happens with your credit card when he's disappeared? Do you know? It's interesting. In many places in Europe, they never take the credit card away from you. They come to you with a credit card charger. They show it to you. There's a real paranoia about that. But we don't have any of that. But because the internet is new, we say, yeah, but giving your credit card on the internet, who knows what happens to it? Well, I don't know what happens to it when I give it to a waiter either. So I think often because something's new, we're a little bit more afraid of it. The truth is, yeah, absolutely, there's lots of security problems. She was saying, our caller was saying, well, gosh, the Department of Justice website got hacked. Yeah, in fact, probably the IRS has been hacked from time to time. But one hopes, there's no guarantee, but one hopes the IRS databases are kept separately from the web server. That is really, the website is a public-facing, inherently insecure thing, because websites have to sit out there on the internet where day in, day out they can be attacked. Let's hope the database with our Social Security numbers is kept somewhere not on the public internet. It's not always the case, unfortunately. And in fact, we had, I'm not going to name any names, but we had in the studio with us a woman who works as a chief privacy officer for a major bank who was saying, I'm sure the IRS has been hacked. She said, I remember even as recently as 7 years ago, them coming to us and talking about privacy and being completely clueless about security. Yeah. But I'll be honest, if the IRS is being hacked, it's hopeless anyway. Whether you mail it or e-file it, you're giving them all your data. They got it all. So, if they can hack the IRS, then it doesn't matter how you get the tax stuff to them. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 8888-275-5536. When we come back, David from Huntington Beach, he's got an iPhone 4S. He's got rental videos. He wants to delete them. He wants to get rid of them. I'll tell you what's going on here, David, and why you can't when we come back. 8888 Ask Leo. Good news, though, the new iOS update 5.1, which Apple pushed out this week on the iPad and the iPhone, does at least finally let you delete individual images from your photo stream. That's been driving me crazy. Yeah, you agree, right? Oh, these horrible pictures I put there, and you can't. And then not only that, you take a picture on the phone. Every picture you take automatically goes to everything else. Your Mac, your Apple TV. All of a sudden, you're watching your big screen. The screensaver comes on, and oh my goodness, did not want to see that at 55 inches. More of your calls to come. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Kyle Benham, our musical director, having fun. Playing some great songs. I'll tell you what, we make a playlist. He makes a playlist during the show, and usually posts a Spotify playlist on his Google Plus account after the show, Kyle Benham, or you can we'll put a link on the show notes, techguylabs.com. Dave in Huntington Beach, Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Hi, David.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. Welcome.
Yeah, I got an iPhone 4S with rental videos, and without a computer, apparently you can't delete them. That's what they said I called technical support at Apple last night, and initially they said you could just swipe it off the screen, and then they came back and said, no, I take that back. There is no way without a computer.
So you rented them on iTunes?
Yeah. No. I didn't use iTunes to download them. I just downloaded them using the 3G.
So I'm confused. Where did you buy these movies?
Rented them, maybe it was iTunes. I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe it was iTunes.
So, but you downloaded them. Are you sure you downloaded them? See, I'll tell you why I ask. When you rent a movie on iTunes, you don't get a copy. You just stream it.
Well, anyway, I have a movie that's been in there for about a month now. I've seen it. It's taken up 3.8 gigabytes.
Oh.
It's a high-def movie.
And it was a rental.
I want to delete it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a rental. And if I
so you can't watch it anymore, right?
Yeah, right. It's useless now.
That's annoying, but it's still occupying 4 gigs on your hard drive. Well, yeah. Unfortunately, there is, and this is a very stupid thing, but it's funny because essentially what they've done with the iPhone is make it that you have to hook it up to a computer. Now, they've slowly moved away from that. You can actually now buy an iPhone and use it without a computer. And, you can activate it until this year. You had to activate it by hooking it up to a computer, to iTunes. The only way you can delete files from the iPhone officially is by using iTunes.
Yeah, there's an iTunes applet on the iPhone 4S. That's how I did it. There's iTunes on the iPhone 4S app, that applet, and that's how I download them without hardwiring, connecting it to a computer.
Right. If it's a rental, though, you don't actually keep a copy of it. That's what puzzles me. I mean, in other words, it should disappear eventually. It should just erase.
I have other movies that did disappear after a while.
Yeah, it should erase itself after. It keeps it in cache, but it doesn't actually. It's not a file that you can go to and look at. It's in cache, and it does it just to kind of make it more reliable in the playback.
And so the suggestion is to connect it to my computer and through iTunes, delete it that way, but it doesn't show up in the iTunes.
So how do you know that you're seeing it in, how do you know it's taking up all that space?
I go to the video applet and I open it up and there's this movie there, sitting there, and I'm assuming that it's taking up space. It may not, it may just be the picture. But
and in the Videos app, the Apple guy thought was right. You swipe it from left to right, and then a delete button should show up, and you don't get that.
Not on the iPhone 4S. I don't.
Huh.
But that's how the the iPhone 4 worked and the previous one to that. You could just swipe it.
Right.
This one apparently doesn't have that feature.
It sounds like something is a little amiss. So, do you have iTunes? Can you hook it up to your desktop?
Yeah, I have. I could hook it up, but the picture, that file doesn't show up in iTunes.
Yeah, which means, and at the bottom it'll show you how much space is taken up by all the different kinds of files.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and if it doesn't look, it may just be a stub. It does sound like it's messed up. Have you upgraded to 5.1 yet?
Yeah, and I love it. It saves all kinds of battery time for me. That's perfect as far as battery time. But there is a program called iPhone Browser that you could download to your computer.
Yeah, what you really don't want to do is delete files through a third-party program.
Well, I did delete a large 3.8 gigabyte file, and that may have been it, but maybe not. I don't know. And that, well, if you did, and then you didn't tell, it doesn't tell videos that it's gone, so video still has a thumbnail. I bet you did delete it. The image is there.
The best, right, because you used a third-party app, the videos didn't get the message. You know what I would do, to be honest with you? I'd sync it up, do a backup, restore the whole thing. It doesn't hurt to do that. There's a restore button. Restore it to factory condition. It'll put a blank. It'll blank it out. Put 5.1 on there. It will clear the cache, clear up any space that's. The iPhone over time does start to eat space with just cache files and stuff. You'll start fresh, and then it'll say, "Do you want me to restore all your apps and so forth?" And say yes, and that will not come back if you do that. That shouldn't come back actually. I think it's a bug that you're still seeing it anyway. So that'd be my recommendation. If it's bugging you, it's probably not taking up space at this point. You should be able to see in iTunes. But if it's bugging you, and it sounds like this delete might have caused some problems, my strong suggestion is this is time to restore the iPhone. I'm looking at an Apple support document that somebody passed along in the chat room. It's discussion number 1592199. iPhone won't delete rented or expired movies. What do you do to erase a space occupied by rented or expired movies? It said the fast way to do it would be to remove the movies from your iTunes, then sync to your phone. But I have a feeling now, because you've deleted that file, it might be an issue. Boy, this goes on and on and on. Apparently it's a bug. One fella, C.S. Kerrigan, says, just had the same problem. Connect your iPhone to your computer. Check manually manage music and videos in the summary tab. Expand the iPhone's folder tree under devices. Click rented movies. Manually delete grayed out movies. And then uncheck manually manage. So if you do it by hand, in other words, you can do it from iTunes. That sounds like the way to do it. And everybody in that discussion says, yes, it worked. So I would still rebuild your phone. I would do a restore just because it sounds like something's flaky. But this is what you do. You go in, you connect it to iTunes, you run iTunes on your desktop, manually manage music on that phone, then go into the playlist on the left, go into the phone, go to rented movies, and just delete it by hand. That, I think, will solve the problem. And thanks to the chat room for passing along that show note. 8888, ask Leo. I'll tell you what, we'll put a link to that in the website. We've got show notes for the whole show and all 855 other shows at techguylabs.com. techguylabs.com. You'll also find a link there to our chat room. Always a lot of fun in the chat room. You'll find links to the live video, the audio after the fact, and a lot more. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls still to come. You stay right here. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Scotty in Long Beach, California. You're next. Leo Laporte here. Hi, Scotty.
Hi, can you hear me?
I hear you great.
Okay, good. I want to thank you for all the knowledge you've been putting out there. It's a terrific show, and I really enjoy it. And the reason I'm calling you today, Leo, is I'm a real big progressive rock music fan, and I want to get some kind of a program that will allow me to stream like my own radio underground DJ show, taking requests and having a chat room to interact with people.
Oh, that's great. And, love that. Who needs a transmitter anymore, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if what I'm wanting to do, is it possible? And if so, can I do it on a PC? And if I can do it on a PC, what could you recommend for me to go out and buy? I've never played with Mac and Apple, and I'm a little nervous about getting involved with that. So
there is a website that's designed for this that works for everything. You would need a computer. You don't have a computer at all now?
No, I'm going to go get myself something. So
Okay.
I wanted to call you and get your advice. I don't
Go
know
to the
what
library. Go to the library and read up on live365.com.
Okay.
Right. There are a lot of ways you could do this. And in fact, this is just the most obvious because it's designed around doing an internet radio station.
Okay.
In other words, the issue that will come up for you is that you'd be playing, I presume you'd be playing all artists that are signed to labels, right?
Well, I mean, I have all my CDs of, like Pink Floyd and King Crimson.
Those are all artists signed to labels. So here's the deal. I can play any song because we pay license fees to ASCAP BMI for the right to play them. Play those songs.
Okay.
They do not. They frown a little bit on you doing an internet radio station and not paying license fees. So you kind of ideally go through something like Live 365 that pays those license fees for you.
All right. That's not a problem. I'm all up for that.
Yeah. So I would look at Live 365. You would need a computer. It doesn't matter what kind. You could use a cheap computer. You could use a Windows or a Mac. Doesn't matter. But I would go to the website Live 365 and take a look at the options, what they say. If you want to start a pro radio station and build your business, they say, there's a monthly fee. If you want to do a personal station for individuals, it's $3.95 a month, but you have a 7-day trial. And that money goes basically to license fees and, of course, their server costs. It's very simple to do. You just
Yeah, I'm sitting outside, Leo.
That's okay. I'm going to put you on hold so that we don't have to hear that. You could try it out. Now, the back channel, you wanted to have people give you requests. Easiest way to do that would be to open a chat room. That's what we do. We have and that's free. There are lots of servers that you can open a chat room on. Again, you'll need a computer, and people could talk to you. You could actually say on the air, as I do, join us in our chat room, and people will go in there. You'll have to tell them how to do that. People go in there. You probably want a website to go with it so people can find you. Live 65 has its own specialized software, PC or Mac. They have a studio program that lets you broadcast live. You'd need a microphone as well, of course, if you want to talk to people on the air. A USB microphone or a headset, they're not very expensive. Since you don't have any technology and you don't have a computer or anything, this is going to be a fairly, you're going to invest, at least probably $400 or $500 into doing this. You don't need to get a very fancy computer. You can get an inexpensive netbook and do this. You'll also have to have internet. And I presume since you don't have a computer, you don't have internet access either. So it goes on and on. I mean, this is going to start to add up. It's a great idea. It's a lot cheaper than going to the FCC, getting a license, building a radio transmitter and a tower and all of that. But it is not absolutely free. You need a computer. You need internet access. You need a microphone. You will pay some fees because you need to pay license fees to the artist, the music that you're playing. But that's the dream. Now, there are a number of people in the chat room saying, well, couldn't he do it on turntable.fm or a Google Hangout or Ustream? You could. But if you do it in a Google Hangout on Ustream and you're playing real music, you could potentially get in trouble with the music folks, the licensing people, because you're not licensing that music. So that's why I like Live 365. It's completely legal, above board. They pay license fees. Everything's fine. You could do it and take a chance. Turntable.fm is an interesting case. Have you ever seen this? Turntable.fm. You create a room, start playing music from your computer. You choose music. Other people can come and help you DJ. People can stand in the audience. You could chat with them. It's really cool. I don't know how they get away with it because as far as I know, they don't pay license fees. You certainly don't pay anything for it. If you just want to get your feet wet and try it out, Turntable.fm is interesting. I don't think there's any way to talk to your audience. Would be the only negative on that. But Turntable.fm is something that a lot of people do just to kind of listen to their music or listen to somebody else. Let somebody else DJ for you. It's an interesting company. I'm not sure how they get away with it. I don't quite understand the whole license thing, and I suspect that in time, the music industry will turn their baleful eye of Mordor on these guys, and something will have to be worked out. There is a chat room in Turntable FM, absolutely, so you can chat with people, but you can't use your voice. You can't talk to them. I think it's a very interesting system. I'll join DJ Woo's House Dance Electro, and we'll see what's going on. Become a DJ to play songs for everyone in the room. Each DJ plays one song in turn. Everyone can vote on the song. Too many lame votes, the song is skipped. Vote awesome during songs you'd like to reward the DJ with points. They have the music that's playing, and you see in the room that I'm in right now. Whoop, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 DJs. One of them on an iPhone, 2 of them on Windows, 1 on a Mac, and 1 on Linux. And there's a little song meter at the bottom that goes from lame to awesome. And then there's quite a few people listening to this mix. So this is kind of fun. Basically every channel tends to move towards dubstep for some reason. I guess it's the nature of the people who use turntable.fm. But I kind of like it. Turntable.fm. We're listening to Dead Mouse right now. See, I can do this. I can play this because I pay ASCAP BMN license fees. I don't know, frankly, what the license organization is here. But if you said, I want to try some, make a progressive music channel, I want to play some Pink Floyd and stuff, you'd get other like-minded people in there. It might be kind of fun. It's very social. It's very social, very interesting. 8888 Ask Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So the people bobbing their heads in the audience have voted awesome and have given the DJ credit. Hartwell's telling me in the chat room. It's very interesting. 8888 Ask Leo. Let's take some more calls in just a little bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Winding things up for this weekend. See if we get a couple more calls in here before we do. Starting with Robert in Minnesota. Hi, Robert. Leo Laporte here.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Just started listening.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just turning 21 today. And
oh, happy birthday. Wow, it's a big birthday, dude. What are you going to do? Are you going to celebrate?
Maybe a little bit, but,
Good.
But, yeah, I got a MacBook. It's not the Pro version, and it's about 2 years old, maybe a little bit more. And now we've had multiple users on, and I had to go in and get rid of one of the users on there. And I found it was the hardest thing ever because I had to delete everything manually. And I even have a sneaking suspicion that there's a lot of cached.
What operating system are you using? Because in the current operating systems, at least, when you delete a user, it gives you a question and says, "Would you like to delete all the user's data?" Warning: this is not. You cannot back out of this. And then if you say yes, it deletes it all. Are you using a recent OS 10?
Well, yeah, it's the OS X. It continuously gets updated all the time.
So it's Lion, or is it Snow Leopard or Leopard? What?
Snow Leopard.
Snow Leopard. Yeah. In the normal course of events, when you say delete an account, it will ask you if you want to delete the data. If you said no, now you do have to by hand go in there. But it shouldn't be such a big deal. Inside the home folder, there will be folders for, or inside the users, capital U users folder. So it's /volume/users. There will be a list of usernames. You could just, once you've deleted that account and you are an administrator, you could just select that username and delete the whole darn thing.
Okay. All right. Oh, and then this has to do with that kind of. Are they pretty notorious for saving pretty much everything?
You mean Macintosh?
Yeah, I mean, there was so much cached items in there.
Well, all modern operating systems cache. All modern operating systems cache stuff, but then clear the cache. OS 10 is a Unix operating system. It's based on BSD, and one of the things it does, it creates log files that can blow up. The modern versions of OS 10 delete these daily. My suggestion is to get a program called Onyx, ONYX. It's a free utility for OS 10. Really like it. One of the things Onyx will do is delete those old log files, the caches, and so forth. So it's from Titanium Software, and it's free, and it's called ONYX. And I highly recommend it as just kind of a basic maintenance utility for OS 10. That's all you really need to do. That's all you really need to do. And happy birthday, Robert. That's wonderful. Thrilled for you. 21 is a big one. My daughter's 21st is in about 11 days. Exactly 11 days. It's a big birthday. Actually, wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. No, she was only 20. Oh, thank goodness. I had to do the math. She's born in 1992. So we got another year yet. Steve in New Jersey, you have how many songs do you have on your iTunes?
I'm going to guess I have a couple of hundred by now.
Oh, that's nothing. I got 20,000, dude.
No, I don't have 20,000 in there.
But you're right. You're right. You would love to give these to your daughter, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, the trick is, like, for the past couple of years, everybody's been using my account. So my wife, my son, my daughter, me, they're all in the same iTunes account. But when the new iPhone came into my daughter, it was a new account. So I guess from Apple's point of view, this is another account. You have to buy them again.
Well, she could use your account.
Can she do that?
Yeah, well, there's a limit. I don't remember how many devices, but there is a limit. You may have exceeded that limit. I think you get 5 computers and 10 devices.
I think we have 1 computer and 5 devices
5.
if we count the iPad.
All right, well, you're fine then.
But she can't do it.
She can't.
I can't. Like, can I actually take her iPhone, plug it in USB into my?
Yeah,
home
it will say this is. Yeah. Here's what I would suggest. I got a better solution for you, Steve, but it'll cost you $25. iTunes Match. Those iTunes for a long time only sold copy protected songs, right? And those were limited to your account only. But as of the last year, anything you bought, you could put on any iPod. It didn't matter. You didn't have to authorize those songs because they took DRM out.
You've already purchased because I have a lot of DRM songs on here already.
So that's where iTunes Match is awesome. So what you'll do is $25, one time only. You pay every year if you want to keep doing it, but you don't need to. You pay $25 to join iTunes Match. iTunes Match all the songs in your library. So let it run for a little bit. Make sure it's matched all the songs in your library. It'll upload songs it doesn't know about. Then, and this is cool, I would make a backup of that library, put it on an external disk just so you have those songs, because this is going to be a little scary now. Erase all the songs in your library. Back them up first, but then erase them. You've deleted all the copy-protected songs. They're gone. But iTunes knows you have them because you matched them.
Okay.
Now you say to iTunes, oh, I deleted all my songs. Download new copies, would you? And guess what you get? You replace every song that was in your library with a 256-bit AAC, no copy protection.
Oh, I understand.
So you're going to be going to a higher quality with no copy protection, and then you can distribute them to your family.
Does it also take out the ones that I've made myself off CDs and albums?
Those, believe it or not, if you rip a CD, let's say you've got Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, you put the CD in, you rip it. It will recognize it and match it with 256-bit kilobit AAC.
Even though I didn't get it from iTunes?
Even though you ripped it, exactly. The only catch is if it's a song that it doesn't have in iTunes, then it will upload it. You have to give it time to upload them. You only have a few hundred songs. It's not going to be a big deal. It'll be done in a few hours. Let it upload those songs, and then it will re-download them in the same quality you uploaded them.
Oh, that's wonderful.
The only negative is songs that are 96 kilobits or less. It'll say, I'm sorry, that's too cheesy. Even those, you can convert them to 128 kilobit, and it will upload them and then give you a better quality. So I did this. It was scary. If you want to know more, macworld.com. do a Google search for Macworld iTunes Match. They have a bunch of how-tos. One of them is how to do this. That's where I found out. Jason Snell wrote this. But I got to tell you, it's great. You replace all of that music that you ripped at different, 128 kilobit MP3, copy protected, whatever, replaces it all with 256 kilobit AAC with no protection. Now, your email address is in there. So don't tell your daughter, don't put this online, don't distribute this to your friends, because it'll come back to me.
I'm not worried about her doing that. She doesn't do that.
No, but sure, she can use it. It's unprotected.
That's fantastic. And then even before I go to that far, I can actually take her iPhone, plug it in like it was her iPod.
I believe, unless you've exceeded the limit, you should be able to put it on your account, just as you have the previous devices, and do that. Do back up those original files before you make any deletions. We don't want to delete any rare tracks. Thanks for the call. Thanks for listening. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.